So, good morning, everybody. Brothers and sisters, indeed, I'm very, very happy having this opportunity, meeting with public. Because I always talk how to create inner peace, irrespective whether believer or non-believer. Everybody wants happy life, successful life. So these goals ultimately entirely depend on our inner peace. In mental level, too much sort of frustrations and sometimes fear, suspicion, distrust, anger, then your life never be successful, happy one. So in spite of what is sort of surrounding, we have the opportunity, we have the ability to create inner peace. So that also I usually call through secular way, not necessarily based on religious belief. So, meeting with public, share these points. I always feel very happy, and my commitment, number one commitment, on the level of I am a human being, we are same. Mentally, emotionally, physically also. So we are same. And then everybody, have this sort of desire to have happy life, successful life. They are also be completely same. And then everybody have the right to have happy life. From our birth, everybody have the same right. But the problem, we sometimes neglect about these inner values. We are trying to seek joyfulness, happy life from outside. That's a mistake. So that's my number one sort of commitment. The second commitment is promotion of religious harmony. Then I'm talking on the level I'm Buddhist monk. So, according to my own little experience, I fully realize all major religious traditions have the same potential to bring inner peace. So, closer understanding, harmony among the different religious traditions is something very essential. If we, all major religious traditions, a closer understanding on that level, make more common effort or effort for common interest, it can be more effective. So that's number two commitment. So all these government level, even United Nations, I think cannot do much. So public, because these things ultimately depend on individual. We are individual level. Try to create calm mind, peaceful mind. Then that creates within our own family, within our own community. That's the way to change our society. So after all, society, community means individual combined. So sometimes I also feel I am just one single person. The huge problem. My effort may not much effect. It is, anyway, it is true. But there's no other choice unless individual level, you see, make some effort. It never come as the happy society or change of the society level. So the initiative must come from individual level. So that's why I really feel something purposeful, meeting with people. So I'm very happy. Then also, behind you, the American Capitol Hill, magnificent sort of building, and this indicates America, democratic country. Right from the beginning, your forefathers, these ancestors, they really committed promotion of liberty, equality, democracy, rule of law, these things. So since my childhood, many Tibetans feel when we heard the name of America, we don't know much sort of detail, but simply, you see, we felt, oh, America, big nation, great nation, nation who fully committed about these human value, democracy, liberty, freedom, these things. So once more, I had opportunity to talk public here in the capital. So those people who organize this sort of event, I really appreciate. Thank you, all those who are concerned people. And then also, I must thank the audience here, quite large, big number. I think today, weekend, by the way. Weekend, you must have other sort of program, go picnic, or today sun also quite good, sunny day, so you may have certain sort of, the program. But instead of going there, you see, you come here, in spite quite hot here. So I really appreciate. Now, as usual, whenever I have talk, I never sort of prepared. So when I meet, you see, met people, then you see certain ideas, certain sort of thoughts, you see, automatically come. So here also, so the important self-confidence and optimistic sort of mental attitude is very, very essential. So I'm talking something about that. So I think that those people quite far away, I think now you already saw my face. Okay, now I'm going to sit here and talk. Okay. 가죠. 군이 야영 거래. 가래. 가. 오케이. Usually, this is my sort of what's say style, talking or meeting, always completely informal. I don't like formality. After all, the most important sort of event in our life is at the time of birth. at the time of death, these two most important sort of event, no formality. Just come that way. Then between there, too much formality. I feel, according to my own experience, too much formality becoming additional barrier to communicate, person to person. After all, we are same human being. So it is better to talk heart to heart. That I always do. So in case some people may feel, oh, my talk, too much informality, then sorry. Now, in our life, so some kind of problems always there. It is almost impossible, individual human life without any problem. It is almost impossible. However, with a lot of problem, we can maintain peace of mind. When peace of mind there, enthusiasm, optimism come. So that we can do. Now here, actually, you see there are, among the problems or pains, there's two levels. One, sensorial level, mainly physical level. That, of course, you see some, for example, the physical illness, you have to take care. But then, another level of problem, painful experience, suffering. That's mainly mental level. So these two things, the mental level experience is actually more superior than the sensorial level experience. Obviously, for example, you see some of these what call sports, right? Sports. You see, in order to become top, you see, they really, physical level, they really work hard. But then mentally, they already see some sort of target, some sort of what's the purpose. So the physical difficulties, they can even sort of
embrace.
Embrace like that. I think another sort of example, the two patients, same physical illness, in same hospital, we can see differences. One, only concerned about the physical sort of pain, and mentally also too much concerned about that physical pain. That person, I think, much more unhappiness or painful experience. Another same patient, physically, so same illness, same pain, but mentally, you see, different sort of attitude towards pain. Then that person, physical level, same condition, but because of mental level, different attitude, that person is much more happier. I think other animal, no ability to do that. We, human being, I think even animal, is a mother, sometimes is a sacrifice willingly her own difficulties or even risk of her own life in order to save her youngster's sort of life. So that also, you see, the tremendous sort of affection. You see, the willing to take the physical difficulties, even animal level, I think. So we human beings, certainly we have this marvelous human intelligence. So using this human intelligence, in spite of some sort of difficulties surrounding you, you can maintain peace of mind. That much I can share with you according to my own experience. I lost my own freedom at the age 16. Then, age 24, I lost my own country. A lot of sort of difficulties and a lot of responsibilities. However, I think comparatively, I can sustain peace of mind. Knowing good is good, bad is bad, and accordingly you have to handle. But at the same time, you can maintain mental level more calm, peace. So, it is clearly, it is quite clear. In spite of some difficulties, we have the ability to keep peace of mind. Now here, in order to create peace of mind, self-confidence, inner strength is very, very important. This is one factor. Another factor, use human intelligence properly. And through that way, once we realize the reality fully, then that also is one important factor to keep our peace of mind. So now first, the warm-heartedness, a more compassionate sort of mind. Usually I call warm-heartedness. Once you develop warm-heartedness or sense of concern of others' well-being, affectionate attitude, then actually it opens our inner door. As a result, communication with other people becomes very easy. That immense help you carry your life honest, truthful, transparent. That brings trust. Trust brings friendship. Other hand, too much self-centered attitude. Then in deep sort of deep down, too much self-centered attitude there, automatically fear, distrust. And with that, you find it very difficult to communicate with other people because you yourself, in deep inside, sense of insecurity. So then, with that sort of circumstances, eventually you develop feeling of loneliness, helplessness. So therefore, the emotional level, warm-heartedness is something very, very important factor to bring self-confidence. After all, we are social animals. Individuals' successful life or happy life much depend on other. So therefore, the just lonely feeling, some kind of isolated, self-centered attitude is actually against basic human nature. And then, according now scientists, they are sort of finding more compassionate mind, your health also improve. Some scientists actually, you see, carried some sort of research work as an experiment. They already sort of found sort of clear sort of sign. Even you see few weeks, some kind of training about compassion, these things. And after a few weeks, they already found that blood pressure reduced, the amount of stress reduced, and there are social sort of relations also improve. So they already, the peace of mind really helpful for our good health. About, I think, more than 2 years ago, I went through surgery, gallbladder, because there are a lot of stones. I think last almost 15 years, I just, you see, hope with Tibetan medicine or some other sort of medicine can sort of melted these things. But finally, that hope shows empty hope. So finally, I went through surgery. So the surgery is quite serious. Usually, that surgery, a normal way, 15-20 minutes, it can finish. But my case, because of the complication about the gallbladder, had enlarged almost, I think, 2-3 times size, and also what called pus. So therefore, it became more complicated. So you see, my surgery, it took about over 2 hours. So I had good rest without consciousness. So then, after I think 4 or 5 days, fully recover. So my doctor, the surgeon, you see, later you see, told me, your physical is very good. So even you see, one time, you see, the surgeon, you see, told me, expressed to me this young patient. And then I told him, I'm not young. I already 73 or 74, like that. So then he responded, yes, he knows your age, but your physical condition, you see, looks like 60s, like that. So he called me young patient. So of course, you see, there is nothing special. I think my mental state, comparatively, quite peaceful. In spite of some problems, some, you see, tragic sort of news or something happen, it comes, my mind, a little disturbances, but then goes like that. Now I must tell to you, the same person, same simple Buddhist monk, but differences of my previous visit and today, one difference is one important human organ missing now. So this simple Buddhist monk sort of body not complete now. So that's through my own experience. You see, peaceful mind really immense help to maintain health and recover. Very, very helpful. Sometimes the scientists say, too much anger, constant fear, actually eating our immune system. More open mind, more pleasant mind, really immense help to sustain our immune system. And then another sort of occasion, many years ago, I think near New York, one university, we have some sort of meeting with scientists. There, one scientist mentioned, according to his the experiment. He found, his research, he found those people who often, they come, his or her mouth, the I, me, my, like that. So such people have greater risk of heart attack. Although he didn't explain the sort of system, reasons, then I felt, it may be true, because the person who always come the word I, that's the reflection of his or her sort of thinking. So there are sort of the extreme self-centered sort of attitude. So the true self-centered attitude, as I mentioned earlier, your sort of whole sort of outlook becomes narrow. So even small problems appears that narrow sort of mind looks unbearable. And sense of well-being of other people, then your mind becoming more wider. With that kind of sort of widened sort of mind, even serious problem appears not that much sort of unbearable or significant. So it really makes differences. So therefore, compassion, compassionate heart, warm-heartedness, not thinking just yourself, but thinking more other. That kind of mental attitude, immense benefit to yourself. So the problem, quite often, you see, people have the impression the practice of compassion, practice of forgiveness, these are part of religious practice. So those people who have not much interest about religion, then they also neglect about these things. That's totally mistake. Whether I accept religion or not, up to individual. Without religion, you can be a happy person. But without this inner peace or compassionate sort of mind, you cannot be a happy person. So there is no point, you see, to neglect those people who have not much interest about religion. You should not neglect these inner value. Then secondly, also you see, people have the impression, practice love and compassion, good for other, not necessarily to oneself. That also totally mistake. So the benefit out of sort of practice of compassion first goes to yourself, including your own health. Then also, sometimes I jokingly say, telling people, particularly those young girls or young sort of women, I don't know how many. Usually you see people spend a lot of money for cosmetics. Cosmetics. That is only for external beauty. Real beauty is inner beauty. Say, many years ago, I think in 60s, one Tibetan government officials, one monk official, very good one, he eventually disrobed. Then one day, I teased him, "Oh, your wife, not that much attractive." I teased him. Then his response is quite sort of strong. He mentioned, "Oh yes, external beauty, not that much, but internal beauty is excellent." He told me that. So, of course, you see, making your face more beautiful, good. But meantime, you must pay more attention about your inner beauty. With inner beauty, you will find good companion, then the marriage will be long-lasting, happy marriage. Without paying much attention about the inner beauty, only external beauty, you may find some sort of companion, some partner, but may not last long. Clear? So in any way, we human beings, I think we have one unique thing is our smile. Smile, there are variety of smile. Sometimes sarcastic smile, sometimes diplomatic smile. These, instead of bring peace or happiness or friendship, but sometimes fear, sometimes distrust. But genuine human smile is the expression of love, compassion, friendship. So genuine human sort of smile only come through warm-heartedness. I think those powerful people, person, or powerful sort of a very rich sort of person, he or she may receive a lot of smile from other, but they smile in front of you, but behind they may they may say something different things. So those people who really showing a smile, loving smile, genuine smile with love, with respect, that is always there. So therefore, human being need a friend. The friendship entirely based on trust. Trust come transparent, and love, compassion. So naturally, in order to create happy family, happy community, these things are ultimately most important matter. Money, of course important. Material facility, of course important, but not the top most important. So that's one thing. Then the second, the wider perspective, realistic sort of seeing. Very important. Many are problems created by unrealistic method. Obviously, nearly 7 billion human beings, nobody wants a problem. Yet, a lot of problems, essentially our own creation. Why? You do not want problem, but you create problems. Why? Firstly, lack of knowing the reality. So, your approach, you try to seek some sort of positive thing, happiness, joyfulness, or even peace. But your method become unrealistic. So, through any unrealistic method, you never get satisfactory result. It's clear. Therefore, in order to carry realistic method, we must have the fuller knowledge about the reality. In order to see the reality, in order to know the reality fully, we must look objectively. Our mind, with anger, with frustration, we cannot see the thing objectively. Or too much attachment. That also you cannot see. With that kind of mental state, you cannot see the reality. One time I met one American mental scientist, what called?
Psychologist.
Psychologist. Mingaza.
Aaron Beck, Dr. Beck.
Dr. Beck. Many years ago, I met him in Stockholm. That time, I think his age already 84 or something. We some talk,
Discussion.
some discussion. He mentioned, according his sort of observation, when our anger develops, the object which we feel angry, you see, that appears very negative. But actually, 90% of that negativeness is mental projection. He mentioned like that. He has no religious mind. But he's a scientist. So according to his own sort of research, he found that way. So therefore, all those negative emotion, destructive emotion, afflicted emotion, strong sort of, what's it, the influence in our mind. So through that way, we can't see the reality objectively. So in order to see things objectively, our mind must be calm. Then we must investigate the thing from various angles. One event, if you look from one angle, it looks a little bit sort of negative. But same event, look from another angle, or positive things. So, obviously, when we develop anger, hatred, the very nature of anger, you see, you need some kind of independent, absolute target. So, the negative things, something absolute. So then anger, hatred come. Once you look the same sort of object from different angle, you might see some positive thing. Once you see that, the intensity of anger automatically reduce. So then you sort of gradually, you see, your attitude becoming more peaceful. So therefore, when we develop these negative emotions, we should sort of investigate the reality thoroughly, objectively. For that reason, also, you see, the calm mind is very essential. So, practice of compassion, I think, brings all these, both sort of benefits. More compassionate mind, increase self-confidence, inner strength. The compassionate mind creates more calm mind. Through that way, we can see the object realistically. And with calm mind, our investigation becoming much more realistic. With fuller knowledge about the reality, then our method become a realistic method. So here is one sort of practices when we face some problem, and investigate whether there is possibility to overcome that problem or not. Then, through thorough investigation, when you realize now that problem, there's no solution, no way, no solution, no way to overcome that, then not much helpful to too much worry. Better to accept. Through investigation, there is sort of possibility to overcome that. Then instead of sadness or demoralize, make effort. So one sort of advice, one sort of text wrote by one Buddhist scholars in 8th century, he mentioned, when we face some problem, then investigate the problem. If that problem, there is possibility to overcome that, then no need worry. If that problem, no way to overcome, then no use too much worry. I think that's a very realistic sort of advice. So, calm mind, we can utilize this sort of method. So these are the a way to keep our mind more calm, more realistic. And then another thing, can we really develop warm-heartedness? The answer, yes. Why? Human basic nature, I consider gentleness. Recently, I met one Italian scientist, brain specialist in Australia. He mentioned, of course, among the audience, maybe some scientists, then if my sort of understanding mistake, then please make correction. According that is a scientist told our gathering, previously the scientists believe human basic nature is more individualistic.
Selfish, no? Selfish.
Selfish. Then now later they begin to find there are some sort of on this particle.
Some part of the brain.
Some
part of the brain.
Some part of the brain. You see, they found the potential of affection. So the affectionate attitude also is a part of human nature. He mentioned. Is it true? you should investigate. You should ask some knowledgeable scientist. He mentioned at our meeting. So I shake hand. Now, as you scientists make confirmation. One of the basic human nature is more compassion rather than selfish or aggressiveness, like that. So in any way, I think common sense. If you look there, as I mentioned before, more compassionate mind goes very well this body element. Constant anger, fear against this body element. So that also one important factor, basic sort of constituency for this body. You see, very much close with peace of mind rather than agitative mind. One thing. Then the way we born from our mother. Immediately after birth, the child side tremendous sort of affection, trust to the person whom give birth. At that time, child, no idea who is that person, but because of the biological factor, is it totally sort of relying that, and so long that person hold you, you feel happy, safe. Mother side also. You see, immediately birth, born. It seems not very clean, but mother really loves, really feel very precious. So therefore, that's our way. Biologically, we equipped affection. Without that, now for example, after again, some scientist told me after birth, next few weeks, mother's physical touch is the key factor for proper development of their brain. And then, so therefore, our biological factor, you see, we have the seed of compassion there. Now there are two levels of compassion I want to share with you. Compassion or affection, one biological factor. That's actually limited, biased, and a lot of sort of involvement, a lot of sort of mixed with attachment. Now with help of human intelligence, that compassion, biological factor of compassion, as a seed, with help of human intelligence, human awareness, that can increase,
develop.
further develop. So the biological factor compassion limited only towards your friend. Much sort of much depend on their attitude. So the biological factor of compassion oriented about others' attitude, others' action. Now, with human intelligence, awareness, reasoning, we can further develop that. Then that compassion, not oriented about others' action or other sort of attitude, but rather the person or himself or herself, or even further the sentient being itself. Like I think everybody knows, you see, God, as they make distinction, sins and sinner. God never forgets sin, but sinner always forget. Forgiveness. And forgiveness, yes. To sinner, God truly loves, very much concerned, not the sin. So here you see, make distinction. Sin is the action. Sinner is the actor. So make distinction. So therefore, here, the biological sort of level of compassion, mainly towards action, attitude. So that kind of compassion cannot extend towards your enemy, your troublemaker, because that compassionate attitude much sort of oriented about the action. Then, second level of compassion, not oriented the action, but the actor himself or herself, like sinner. So that level of compassion can extend towards your enemy, troublemaker. So now here we have to make distinction. As far as the wrongdoing, harmful action is concerned, we must oppose. We must take counter sort of measure. But the actor, or like sinner, that side, we must keep compassion or sense of concern of their well-being. We can do that. This marvelous human intelligence, you see, have such sort of ability to make distinction. So, when we talk, all religious sort of tradition, talk, love, compassion, is the second level. Like you see, according to theistic religion, we all created by God, same source. One time I met one Muslim. He told our gathering, he told true Islam practitioner should extend love, compassion towards entire Allah's creature. Very much the same. All others of tradition, including Buddhism. See, they extend our love, compassion towards entire sort of humanity, entire sentient being, like that. So different reason, different concept, but the actual practice is same. So that love and compassion is the second level, with help of human intelligence. Further extend our love, compassion towards entire humanity, irrespective of what their attitude. So through that way, we can develop certain sort of attitude towards our enemy. Enemy, in order to practice patience, tolerance, you need troublemaker. Our patience and tolerance never can
develop now. Can be practiced.
Never sort of develop towards our mother or towards God. So the anger, tolerance, only the because of the time, opportunity, someone create trouble, that's the moment of practice of tolerance. So therefore, from that viewpoint, your enemy is best teacher. Instead of sort of develop also the negative feeling, you must develop gratitude.
Appreciation.
Appreciation, like that. That does not mean you bow down. As far as the action, wrongdoing is concerned, we have to take countermeasure. But as a person, the actor's level, we must respect, we must appreciate. So these, if we use common sense, I think these are sensible method, you see, to change our attitude. Clear?
Totally.
So, as I mentioned before, we all, you see, same sort of, same human being, we all have the same sort of potential, same ability. So I thought, you see, some of my own sort of practice, and also, you see, with the help of some scientists or some practitioners sort of experience, I just, you see, share with you. So, think more seriously about this point. And those people who feel some of these points are sensible, then pay more attention and think more and eventually implement by yourself. Then those people who may feel now waste of time listening these things, and then in the sun, hot sun, right?
Hot sun now.
Hot sun, then just forget it. No problem. So, and then these things, according to my own experience, you see, even physical change need time. Then mental change need more time. Think constantly, familiarize, using more reasons, more sort of experiment. Then eventually you get some conviction. Conviction, firstly you learn knowledge. Then think more, experiment, then you develop conviction. Conviction brings effort. Effort brings result. That is change of our mental attitude, like that. So, thank you very much. Now some questions. Ida, come here.
Yes.
Come here.
All right, here I come. And down I go. I have some questions for you that people have sent in. So, the first one says, Your Holiness, I am 14 years old. As a youth, how do I keep my faith in the goodness of humanity and in achieving world peace when the world seems to be in such turmoil?
I think the first part I already mentioned, but where?
They want you to read it louder.
Oh, louder. I'm sorry. The question that I just... Better?
Yes, I think better.
All right. The question was, Your Holiness, I am 14 years old. As a youth, how do I keep my faith in the goodness of humanity and in achieving world peace when the world seems to be in such turmoil?
First part I already mentioned. We have the potential. And use common sense. And also observe your neighbors, those people who more compassionate mind there, or in family, more compassionate sort of atmosphere there, the family, all family member much happier, and their neighbors also then the good relations are much sort of happier. Then those family who may be very rich, very powerful, but lacking human affection, then even within their own family member may not be very happy. So that's one. Then second part, past century, 20th century, although I think the greatest century of human history, lot of sort of new inventions in the field of science and technology, much developed, really wonderful. And also I think new ideas, you see, like the human right or right for self-determination, these things, equality, these are, you see, I think much developed in the past century. But at the same time, among many historians, they say the 20th century eventually becomes century of bloodshed. That century, number of people who killed through violence, through war, over 200 millions. So I usually describe 20th century inspired some positive things, but century itself also is to become century of bloodshed, century of violence. That immense violence, including use nuclear weapons, if that tremendous sort of violence really brought better world, safer world, peaceful world, then that immense violence can justify. But that is not the case. Therefore, now we must look a different way. That means problem among the humanity always remain. And then on top of that, the global warming and also population increasing, like economic sort of crisis recently, these now there are sort of I'm a problem. So the only way when we face this problem, when we sort of try to solve this problem, at least is the man-made problem, when we face these things, we must adopt the realistic method in order to solve this problem. That's the dialogue. So I often telling, 20th century becomes century of violence. Now this century, 21st century, should be century of dialogue in order to develop peaceful century. So here I want to tell you, I think in 1996, I met the Queen Mother of England. Since she observed the whole century, so I asked her, since you observe a whole century, so humanity or world become better or worse or same? Without hesitation, she mentioned better. Then her sort of reason, when she was young, nobody talked about human right or right of self-determination. Nowadays, these things become universal value. She mentioned that. So then, of course, the awareness, importance of ecology, much sort of much increased. And then also, I think, feeling of fatal about violence, much increased. During the previous century, when you see nation declare war on their neighbor, consider as an enemy, when they declare, every citizen of the country, without the slightest question, joining war effort proudly. Now that kind of sort of mental attitude is completely changed. Since Vietnam War, this country, the anti-war movement, very strong. Many parts of the world. So they desire genuine peace. I think everywhere, very strong. So these are positive things. So this shows our future is hopeful. Now I want to tell you, the 14-year-old, isn't it? 14-year-old, I usually say telling my generation, now person who above now 60, 50, 60, 70, I'm now 67. No, I mean 76. Just because of the opposite. 76. So my generation, I don't know, your generation belongs, my generation in any way belongs to 20th century. So people below 30, 20, these people belongs to 21st century.
Yes. Yes.
So I don't know, you belong which one. But in any way, this questioner, 14-year-old, you belongs 21st century. My century gone. So people who belongs 20th century now ready to say bye-bye. Now this young person, 14-year-old, you belongs 21st century. So as far as the 21st century is concerned, now only 10 years passed. Right? Nearly now 11 years passed. So 89 years. 89 years yet to come. So these young people, you are the people who really make new shape of this century. So you must realize that, and in order to make new shape of this planet, you should have vision and determination, willpower. So please study well, with self-confidence, more optimistic attitude, and that, as I already mentioned, very much related with compassionate heart. So please pay equal attention about brain development and warm-hearted development. This is I want to share with you, so that you can be a really sensible, responsible person, and you can make significant contribution on this planet, and particularly in the United States. Now, I think Lincoln abolished slavery. Then Martin Luther King achieved civil right. Now you have an American black president. Oh, wonderful. You see, you really use your freedom, your equality, through that way you achieve quite remarkable. So this great nation, actually I think America, leading nation of free world. So you should have full confidence and full optimism, work hard. This is not time for relax, time for work. Like Japanese brothers, sisters, and also German people, after Second World War, their new nation built from ashes. But they very successfully done. So some problems here and there, and particularly the global economic crisis, sometimes it's possible, a little bit sort of feeling of demoralized. That's a real failure. In spite of some problems, you should not feel that way. You should develop self-confidence. American made tremendous sort of contribution for world peace, for sort of world economy. Now in future also, you can do that. So with full confidence, self-confidence, you must work hard. That I want to tell you. Now, next question.
Your Holiness, as a teacher, how can I create a positive learning environment?
Environment, yeah. Oh, my knowledge, limited. My experience is very limited. But I think, as I briefly mentioned before, ultimately, the individual really makes differences. So I really appreciate one teacher, having that kind of sort of feeling or concern. I very much appreciate it. So, firstly, equality samarbe. I feel that in education field, up to now, my impression, and also some of my friends also have the same view, in modern education system, they pay much attention about knowledge or brain development, not adequate pay attention about warm-heartedness. Obviously, when in European continent, this is separate education institution started, that at that time, moral ethics, these things concerned or take care by church. Now time passes, the influence or rule by church sometimes is a little reduced. And family value also, I think, some extent is reduced. So now the education institution alone should take care both brain development, development of warm-heartedness, and in secular education, the only way, I think the practical way is secular way to educate about compassion. When I use the word secularism, some my friend, some Muslims, some Christians, they have the view secularism means little sort of disrespect about religion. According to Indian tradition, secularism not that way. Secularism actually respect all religions, including non-believers. So that is the real meaning of secularism. India's constitution based on secularism, and those Indians are also the fathers like Mahatma Gandhiji and Rajendra Prasad and Dr. Ambedkar. You see, these great sort of lawyers who drafted the Indian constitution, they themselves very much religious-minded. But a nation, multi-religious community. So therefore, the secularism is very fit. So therefore, now like America, or I think the whole world, becoming smaller, and itself like multi-religious sort of community. So I think the Indian sort of tradition, 1,000 years, this secularism there. So when I say secularism that way, not negative sense towards religion. And then maybe when the Bolshevik Revolution, French Revolution, during those periods, maybe some sense anti-religion. That not religion itself, but religious institution. Because at that time, the ruling party or elite very much sort of link with religious institution, religious people. So when they against the ruling system, then they have to sort of against the supporter of that. So there may be some sort of indication against religious institution. Actually not religion itself. What is religion? Not ceremony or costumes. Real religion is practice of love, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, self-discipline. These are religion. So nobody can against religion. No. Religious institution, oh yes, even Tibetan sort of tradition, some religious institution, I think including Dalai Lama institution, outdated. So you see, that's something different. So real religion and religious institution more or less a social thing. So social change, these must change. But religion, 1,000 years in the past, I think they mainly human emotion, not much change. I think last few thousand years, emotion level, I think same. The modernity means external sort of change, not human emotion. Of course, the environment makes some sort of influence in our way of thinking. Even I think American in farms land, and those Americans who live in big city, I think their way of thinking a little bit different. That's the environment, due to environment, like that. But basically, same sort of level of these emotions. So therefore, religion is still very much sort of relevant, like that.
All right.
So secularism, I think so the teacher, when you teach student about the value of compassion, these not sufficient, not because of the sufficiently carried by word, but through action. So I don't know, see, this questioner sort of face, if you usually just smile, then should carry more smile with your student, not with a stern face. When I receiving sort of teaching from my tutor, when tutor showed me smile, affection, I have more enthusiasm to learn. Occasionally, my teacher looks a little bit sort of stern face. Then sometimes I a little bit demoralized, like that. So therefore, you see, your own attitude and close connection with your student, like family because of a member, and then through that way you can share, you can transfer your own experience of compassion and love to them. That's, I think, important. Thank you. Next question.
And it's the last question, Your Holiness. This person asks, do you ever see yourself returning to Tibet one day?
Oh yes, things are always changing. The people's people's Republic of China, since Mao Zedong's time, much change. I think if Chairman Mao, now recently, you see, they carry some celebration, 90 years or what is the anniversary or something. Sometimes I feel if Chairman Mao himself returned China today, I think Chairman Mao, I think much shock. Obviously, now today's Chinese Communist Party is a communist without communist ideology, a capitalist communist. So big change. So certainly, I think the voice of freedom, democracy, rule of law, more and more voice now coming, including Chinese Prime Minister himself, Wen Jiabao. The last few years, he quite often, express, China need more political reforms, like that. So things will change, certainly changing today's China. Compare 40, 50 years ago, much change. So like that. So, and not only Chinese case, but the whole world, things are changing. I think sometimes power of gun for immediate, very decisive, but long run, power of truth, power of compassion is much more effective than the power of gun. isn't it?
I agree. So I need to introduce Michael Fitzpatrick, but before I do that, I want to thank you for your words of wisdom, because...
Oh, yes. Okay, yes, one question.
What about all the people in power that are cruel and don't listen to us?
What about all the people in power?
People in power who don't listen to them.
Oh. Now, I always make clear, world belongs to humanity. America belongs to American people. So they since country belongs to the people, so rule the country by people. The best way is democratic system. Now, firstly, when election take place, including yourself, you should think more seriously. That you should choose a right person. Then even after you say elected, if you really dissatisfy, then next election coming. Then also I think you have powerful two houses, and particularly because of the Congress, and also the senator. So your own, what to say, because of constituencies, constituencies, I think you can express your feeling directly to your electeds or congressmen or senators. Then through that way, of course, the American sort of system, I think very good system, very well balanced, independent judiciary, legislative and executive, I think very well sort of divided power. I think wonderful. So, of course, you see, you have some sort of complaining. It is your right. So you should express that without fear and make effort and tell more people. Isn't it? Like that? Okay. So you see, the democratic system is the best system. Therefore, my own case, last almost 4-century-old Dalai Lama institution, who holds both political power and spiritual, that I felt outdated. So I voluntarily, happily, proudly ended. So I fully committed about democracy. So I love democratic system. Meantime, no matter what good system, but ultimately depend on the individual who carries this or this work. So now here, problem is we are really facing some kind of moral crisis. That is a serious matter. Not only America, everywhere. Even India, very religious-minded country. I often telling my Indian friend, if you really believe a Lord Shiva, Brahma, you should be honest. If you really involve corruption, then you should not practice Dharma. If you practice Dharma, we should not involve corruption. I'm telling like that. So here also, I think, I don't know how much extent, you see, the corruption, I don't know here.
Not as much as there used to be, but there's still kind of a little bit.
Oh, so that's, I think, really important. The moral principle, the moral ethics, Whether religious believer or not, it's a different question. But so long we are human beings, particularly they involved in administration or politics or anywhere, leadership must be moral principle. That's very important. Money important, but moral principle is even more important. That's I think you should keep these points and make an effort